I know there's lots on the internet right now that says like manifest your desires. And yes, we are powerful. And yes, we can attract. And yes, we're magnetic. In addition to that, though, like sitting on your bed isn't going to let that opportunity fall into your lap. Like we need purpose and vision in our lives. It is our life force. And it requires real, tangible things in the real world. You need both. No matter what, you are going to have to take actions to actually move you to the place you want to go. Hello, you guys, and welcome to this week's episode of the Expand and Evolve podcast. I don't know why I said that so weird, but this is the first episode I'm recording in 2026, so I feel so excited, and it just feels so fitting for the topic and the theme of this week's episode to be all about creating expansive and limitless vision. And in creating expansive and limitless vision, I'm just going to kind of go off the cuff because this is something that I've been spending a lot of time with in the new year, which I think it's called the Gregorian calendar. I don't know the right name. Anyways, the real new year comes in the end of February towards March, right? Like the spring equinox is technically the actual new year. So we are still in the thick of winter. And I still think because we're so used to January being a new year and a fresh start, that we still kind of can feel this energy of newness. And I also think 2026 itself is, I don't know what is going on with numerology and zodiacs and all that kind of stuff, but I can assume there's a big shift happening because everyone I'm talking to is feeling it. And I feel like it's almost like that Phoenix rising from the ashes type of vibe where people in 2025, I feel like a lot of people I know at least, we set big goals and big intentions and we wanted the growth. Like we genuinely wanted it, but it wasn't the year for massive expansion. And I can't explain it, but I feel like 2026 is feeling a lot like what 2020 felt like for me, where in 2020, even though the world was crazy and the world shut down for business focus, 2020, I was so freaking focused in my business and I saw so much growth. And so I wanted to talk about how to actually create expansive and limitless vision, because this is something that I know I've become really good at. And I honestly believe the skill of expanding your vision, like I just said, is a skill. So this is something that you need to practice. You need to put time into, you need to put effort into. You just need to bring presence and awareness to it, because ultimately, if you continue to do the things that, let's say, like move your needle forward in terms of your business, or even the gym, for example, like you could do something towards business or gym or whatever it is that you're trying to move forward with in your life. And if you don't have a focus, intention, a goal, if you don't have a focus, intention, or vision for where you're going, you kind of start to do this like loop thing. And it creates like, even though you're doing the thing, you're not necessarily moving towards anything. And so I say the same thing when it comes to money. Like you can say, I want to earn more money, and we're going to get into that. And it's like, okay, but for what purpose? Like, what purpose are you earning more money for? What are you going to do with that more money? You need a job for it. You need an intention for it. You need a purpose for it. And you need clarity for where that's going. Okay, so bringing it back, expansive and limitless vision. All right. So when I say that it's a skill in order to create this, it's because it takes focus and practice, intention and time and effort towards basically bringing your energy in on the thing that you really want. And so this is something, no matter what, I think it's valuable. Not that you necessarily every single year need to make a new vision board, or every single year you need to set a new goal, or every single year you need to do New Year's resolutions. None of those are necessarily like exactly what you need to do, but they're great steps in the right direction. And I think that's why they're so powerful, because for all of us, we're motivated when we can feel hopeful and excited and like something new that we're moving towards. Like that excites us and makes us continue to take the actions necessary to move us in that direction. And that's where, if you don't have something that you feel inspired by, excited about, motivated for, then it's kind of like you kind of get stuck in this stagnant energy of no real clarity on where you're going. And I think that's where creating a vision is so, so key if you're wanting to grow and progress in your life, your business, all the things. Okay. So I just want to talk a little bit about things that I believe that I think are really valuable and important. And also, I think what allows me to continue to expand my vision bigger, because these are core beliefs that I have. Okay. So number one, I literally do not believe there is anything that's off the table for me. Meaning, if there's something that I genuinely, truly desire and want, and it's coming from me, like a true desire within me, not like everyone who's successful has a G-Wagon, for example, or like everyone who's successful lives in Dubai. So like I need to do those things. First of all, both of those things have been on my radar lately, but it's like, this is where, even though I can see it as something that I could want, this is where I go in a little deeper and I dissect, like, is this a true desire for me? Or is this an imposed desire that I'm kind of seeing from everything that I'm seeing out externally? Like that it feels almost, like impressed upon me in a way by others and like seeing it. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, just because other people have it or other people want it, do I truly want it? Or am I just thinking that I should want that? Does that make sense? And so it's like, that's where you really need to kind of dive deeper into like, who are you? What is your truth? What is your desire? What do you want? How do you know the difference of like when it's an external want or like an internal want? And neither are bad, but it's like, is it genuine and true to you? Okay. Next thing, I literally don't believe there's a single reality that can exist for you, meaning whatever you want, you can have. I'm going to say that again, because I feel like, how often does someone actually tell us that whatever we want, we can have? Meaning, if there's something that you desire in your life, if there is a place you want to live, if there's a type of relationship you want to be in, if there's a level of financial security or wealth that you want to move toward, achieve, accomplish, I genuinely, truly believe that every single opportunity is available to you. It just comes down to you actually deciding that that is the thing that you want and locking in and holding the vision until it becomes a reality for you. So when I say that, I think it's really important for you to start to realize, like, the only limitations that exist are the ones that you impose upon yourself. So anything that you think isn't possible, you're right. Anything that you think is a limitation, a limiting belief for you, you're right. And this is where you get to decide, like, how is that serving you? Deciding and believing like, oh, I'm broke and I'll never be able to own a home, or, oh, I'll never be able to be successful because XYZ, or I'm a mom now, so I'm never going to have a nice body again. Or like, it's just easier when you're in your 20s, but now that I'm almost 40, XYZ. Like we start to do this for ourselves, or feeling like, oh, well, it's easy for that girl because she has followers or something. And so that's why she's successful, but I can't be. Well, they were born in a different situation. They don't understand. They don't have the trauma like me. They weren't raised like me. They da 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 XYZ. So of course they can have success, but like that's not something that I can have for me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like XYZ, fill in the blank with whatever you have said before. But ultimately, there's limiting beliefs that we believe. Like you don't even really realize that it's a limiting belief and that you're imposing these limitations upon yourself because you believe them so strongly. To you, it feels like truth. To you, it feels like an absolute truth that is a reality. And I guess you're right, right? Like what I just said is, you can create any reality. Anything is possible. So if that's the way you think and believe, you're right. And then now that's the reality that you're creating for yourself and your life. Because ultimately what's happening inside of you is reflected externally outside of you. Meaning the crappy beliefs that you have about your body are going to reflect in your physical body that other people perceive and see, because it's what you think inside. You think that you're like, if you're like, oh, that person's so confident, but like, I'm not, because I don't know, the thing that's coming to my mind right now, don't get mad at me, but it's like, if you feel like you're fat, for example, so you don't have confidence because you're like, oh, I'm so fat and ugly. So you like sit like this and you hide and you pull back. So what happens? Do you think that you're going to have the same experiences as a confident, outgoing person who's willing to go talk to people and put themselves out there and be friendly and engaging and connect with other people if you're always hiding because you think you're fat and deserve to be in a corner? No, we're going to have different realities regardless of your body. The body doesn't actually matter. Does this make sense? Like, this is all about your own thoughts and beliefs that are happening within your own mind. And that's where you get to do the work to actually shift those beliefs, to start creating a different reality in the external world based on shifting what's happening inside. Okay, makes sense? So the next part of this, so I literally see the entire world full of opportunities, meaning I actually see every physical location on planet Earth as a potential for me to move to. And like, I don't see a limitation of like, I live in Canada and I'm going to stay in Canada. I don't see like, I'm from North America, so I'll end up staying in North America, or just like my only option is to move to the States. I quite literally believe I could move anywhere in this world. And eventually the place that I'm meant to live in and grow a life in will will reveal itself. Right now, I don't feel a pull to anywhere in particular. I am noticing, like, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to go to Dubai. I feel like there's something there for me. Maybe it expands my vision or my reality or what I feel is possible. I don't know, but like it's popping up a lot. And so I'm like, okay, I think I need to listen to this and make a trip to Dubai. Anyways, in addition to that, like I really loved being in Europe. And so I'm like, who knows? Maybe I eventually will go live in Europe. Like I don't know, right? But I truly believe that any place on this earth is a potential for me to go live and grow a life in. That's something else that a lot of people don't believe. They think like, oh, I'm from Canada and so I have to stay here. Something that I've noticed from traveling, you guys, is the more that I travel and the more that I go experience new things, I realize that what I was just saying about like the only limitations are the ones we impose upon ourselves are so real. It comes from a really young age. So, for example, like if you grew up and your parents lived in the same house our whole lives, I remember when I was moving and thinking about buying a new house, I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to ruin my kids that I don't have them in the exact same house for their whole childhood? Or like how there's those beliefs that if you move, it's so bad for the kids, like all these beliefs that we can have where it's like, who said that's true? What if it's the best thing that could ever happen to them is them moving and meeting new friends and having new experiences? For example, like me and my ex splitting, the house he moved into, my kids have made their bestest friends from living where, like when they're on daddy days, being able to live there. They have made their absolute best friends in that neighborhood. Imagine, it's like, what if part of us getting together and then deciding to split one day was so that they could meet those people? Who knows? You just have to trust that this is so hard. I'm trying to do this, but anyways, I'm going to get it back. You just have to know that anything is a potential and a possibility for you unless you decide that it isn't. So it's like if you want a different reality, you want to live a different life, you get to decide that at any moment in time. If you hate where you live, like I don't really love it here, but I don't really feel pulled to anywhere else just yet, move. If you don't like your job, quit. Go get another job. Start looking for other options. Take risks. You're going to grow when you take risks in your life. That is something that so many people also don't do. You're taught to like go to school and get a job and stay there till you're 65. And so like you think that that's safe. And that is so imprinted in your brain that to break out of that program, that matrix, that loop can feel like catastrophic to your being to do something different. But I am giving you permission right now. Don't just quit and have no plan. Make a plan, be smart about it. But like you can change everything about your circumstances. There are so many options to go make money. Why would you ever spend a day in a job that you don't love and that you hate? Why would you do that to yourself? And if you truly like honor, respect, appreciate, love yourself, which we all should, which most of us don't, and we need to work on that, obviously, to get to a place where we do. But if you really love, respect, appreciate, and want to honor yourself, you would never stay in a place that makes you miserable and hate your life. But this is normalized. This is so normalized to stay in a job that you hate and to do it till you're 65 that people do it and are proud of it. They're proud. And they think like, oh, well, when I was 18, I chose to go to school for this. And so like, this is my life now. You can choose again. You can change. You can pivot. You can change your mind. You can do something different. You do not need to stay in something that is not fulfilling, that you don't love, that you don't enjoy. And the one thing that really helped me make that transition was that when I decided to quit, what I fell back on was like, I can always choose to come back. If it doesn't work out for me, if me going on my own and starting my own business doesn't work out for me, I always can fall back on my degree. I can always go back to that job that I quit. I'm still getting emails asking to get hired for these things. And so it's like, you're never going to lose that opportunity. You can always go back. So I don't know why people are so afraid to make that shift. It's like, it's always going to be there. You can go back. The next thing I want to talk about is this is what I was kind of saying earlier, but I want to go deeper into this. That, for example, if you truly, in your heart of hearts, desire and know that you are meant for a life of like not even riches and money, but wealth. If you really believe that, you're like, no, I can feel it. I am meant to live a wealthy life. I am meant to live the most luxurious of luxurious. I'm meant to travel and go on private jets, for example, or like, I don't know, where are all these rich people going? Like St. Bart's on yacht, like Monaco, is that what it's called? And people go to like these like well, I don't even know, the race car things. I don't even know because it's so out of my scope, right? Of like where I am in my life right now, but it's starting to come into my awareness, right? And so in it coming into my awareness, it's like, okay, these opportunities, these experiences, these types of people exist. Does it exist in my current reality of where I am? No. Have I ever met these people? No. Have I experienced life like these people? No. But if I want to, I can put myself in those realities, in those places, in those circumstances. If that's what I really truly feel, my life is meant to go in that direction. Do you get what I'm saying? So for me, let's just take it back for a second, because I think this is important when you're thinking about vision, is you can typically only see, I would say, realistically, like 3 steps ahead of where you really are. So for example, if I was to go back to who I was, let's say 8 years ago, living in my parents' basement suite, didn't own a home yet, knew I wanted to own a home, I think maybe I had made my first 6 figures back then. I can't remember. But like, let's say I was just under 6 figures, but I could envision myself making my first 6 figures, right? Oh my gosh, sorry. I'm drinking a passion fruit fizz, by the way. This is so good. Anyway, so back then, let's say all I could see for my vision was one day I want to own a home. I want to make 6 figures, and maybe it would be kind of cool to start my own business one day. Okay. So those are 3 things that I can see that aren't so far away. Like they're close enough. I can see how I would get there. Does this make sense? So it's like easy to roadmap and blueprint a way to get there. So me living in the basement suite, I knew, for example, I worked out the numbers. So back then, let's say a house is like $1 million. 30% of that is $300,000. To put a down payment on it, I would need 300K saved. Yes? So what my vision was back then was, okay, let's say I buy $1 million home and I need 300,000 down, and then my mortgage payments are going to be, I don't even remember at the time. Let's just say like $3,500 a month. I don't know. Now I have realistic, tangible numbers for me to go break down. How am I actually going to get there? So let's say my first goal is like, okay, the one thing I can focus on to like move me towards getting my first house is how can I make 100K a year? Let's just do the math on that. So if it was like $100,000 a year, whoops, I went to a million divided by 12. That's making about $8,000 a month. So if my current job, let's say I was making 5K a month, then I'm going to be like, okay, what I need to focus on right now is how can I bring in an extra $3,000 a month to be able to make my first 100 grand? And maybe my life expenses are 4K, and every month I'm going to put away 4,000. This is the type of math I always used to do for myself. So let's say now, $4,000 a month, I'm able to put it away. That's $48,000 a year. If I was trying to save $300,000 to get a down payment, how long is that going to take me? Okay, this is real. This is what you need to do if you actually want expansive vision, is not just a vision board. Like for some people, visual is great. Some of you need real tangible steps and things that you can focus on. I'm a numbers person. So when I go look at, let's say, the house that is my dream house, and I work out the mortgage of that, I'm going to go, okay, 30% of my total monthly income could go toward my mortgage. So how much money do I need to make per month to be able to afford, let's say, like a $10,000 a month mortgage or a $20,000 a month mortgage? I'm going to do that math because it helps me set the precedent and have a number in my mind of what I'm actually working toward. Okay. So now let's go back to the $1 million, because you want to make 100 grand a year and you want to buy your first home and it's going to cost you $1 million, right? So if you're only saving $48,000 a year, this is going to take you 6 years to be able to get approximately your down payment. So if you don't want to wait 6 years, what's another way that you could actually do this quicker? You make more money. So if you know, you're like, okay, dang, I don't like the idea of 6 years, but I can toy with 2, right? So if you want to do that in 2 years, you would need 150,000 per year to get the 300K in 2 years. Yeah. So if you break that down by 12 months, you need an average of an extra 12,500 coming in per month to put away, if on top of what you're already earning to pay your life expenses. So let's say your life expenses are 4K a month, which is super low. But back then my life expenses were super low. I was living in a basement suite. It was cheap. This is 8 years ago, whatever. So it's like, I think I was able to get my life expenses down, you guys, I'm not even kidding, probably to like 3K a month. And so back then it was like, okay, if I can just make an extra 12K, what is that? About $15,000 per month, then I will be in a position in 2 years to be able to buy my first house. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, yes, have a vision and like see what you want and put it all on paper and have visuals of like this life you desire. But at the end of the day, you need to actually do the proper math and do the realistic things of figuring out how are you going to get there. Typically, the life you desire is going to cost you money. So how much money do you need to make? That's question number one. You need to figure out how much money do I need to bring in per month to actually live the life I desire? Yes? So if you need an average of $12,000 a month extra, now your job is to figure out like, okay, I know that I need to be making 15,000 a month. The job I'm in right now brings me in 5. How am I going to get to a place where I can bring in an extra 10? What is a way that I can do that? Maybe, and like put it out there that you're ready for opportunities to come into your life and your awareness to give you the opportunity to make an extra $10,000 per month or 12 or 15 or 20 or whatever your number is, right? Do you get what I'm saying though? Like you need to actually set the intention that, okay, I'm ready. Whatever this is, bring me the opportunities to help me get to this place that I want to go. And there are so many ways that you can do that now, you guys. Like you could have 12 personal clients per month that are paying you $1,000, whatever your thing is. You could have, I don't even know the math, but like break that down by 4, paying 3K a month. Is that the right math? 4, 8, 12, 6. Oh my God. No, 3K would be 12K. Yeah. Anyway, so you can break it down however you want, but you need to figure out a way that you're going to bring in that extra money. Now from there, you have a realistic plan and 2-year vision for your life. I'm going to get into this again even further. But I break that down because like had I not back then worked out what that would look like, I couldn't have seen beyond, like I couldn't see the St. Bart's yachts and private jets as a reality for myself. Does this make sense? I couldn't have seen, going and living in California for a year as an option back then. I couldn't have seen wanting to go buy a G-Wagon. I couldn't have seen being able to fly first class. I couldn't have seen being able to travel all over the world. I couldn't have seen buying a 5-acre property and starting a school. I could not have seen all of those different options and opportunities because my mind back then could only see 3 steps ahead of where I was for it to actually feel tangible and realistic. And this is where I want to bring you back to like, wherever you are, you need to acknowledge where you are. And then what's 3 steps ahead of that? Because if you create a vision like that, it's going to be way more realistic for it to actually happen. Some of us, what I find, I do this exercise with people all the time called drinks and dreams. Okay. And I've done it with lots of different women, lots of different groups, all the things. And the funniest thing to me is when the brokest person in the room says that they desire to fly private all around the world and own their own private jet and own like a $12 million mansion. And I just go, how out of reality are you? I know anything is possible for people. Yes. But like, how are you going to go from as broke as you are with no steps in the right direction, no actions to actually make more money, to having a life like that? Like, it doesn't just happen. I'm sorry. I know there's lots on the internet right now that says like manifest your desires and be in your feminine and just sit still and let it come to you and like use your powers to allow your divine feminine to bring in everything you've ever wanted. Yes, we are powerful and yes, we can attract and yes, we're magnetic and yes, 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 yes to all of that. And it requires aligned action and it requires you actually doing something. And it requires real tangible things in the real world. We live in a real physical 3D world. So love that. Love all that like 5D expansiveness, believing anything is possible. Yes, paired with real action. Okay? You need both. So if anyone on the internet is trying to sell you that if you're just like magnetic and you meditate enough, you'll have everything attract and come into your life. Maybe if you're like Jesus level enlightenment, but like most of us are not. And so you're going to have to do things. Okay. And yes, maybe you meditate on it and you believe it and you can see it for your life. And that piece is important. Yes, you need to visualize it, feel it, see what that feels like within your body, make your nervous system feel safe in receiving that. All of that is true. All of that is good. In addition to that, though, like sitting on your bed isn't going to let that opportunity fall into your lap, most likely. If it does, it's because like maybe you started using social media and you started putting content out and you started speaking what you wanted into like what you desired into the universe and like putting it out in the ethers, right? And so like now you're starting to magnetize what you want back to you, maybe, but that still took an action. Do you see what I'm saying? No matter what, you are going to have to take actions to actually move you to the place you want to go. Yes? Okay. So coming back. So now I have my plan of how I'm going to make at least 6 figures. I have my plan of like how long it's going to take me to buy a house. It's going to take me 6 years. I don't really like that. I want it to take me 2 years. So I'm going to up the ante and decide that I want to make more money so I can make that happen in 2 years. Okay. My real life it took me 1 year. All right. From the moment that I was like, F this, I want to be able to buy a home. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to start a new business. It was about a year and a bit later, I bought my first house. Okay. So now I buy my first house. Well, my vision of what I wanted for my life to make 6 figures and buy a house, like I did those two things. So imagine I just was like, well, I accomplished my life. I get to relax now. That's it. For some people, that's enough. That's all you want in your life. For me, like if you want a limitless, expansive life, you need to now create a new vision because you just accomplished yours. And what good are you to the world if you just stay stagnant? I don't know if you knew this, but in water, anything that stays stuck or stagnant rots and it dies. So as human beings, I kind of think we're the same. Like once you're stuck and stagnant, you start rotting and dying. And you feel it from people. Like you're not as magnetic and inspired and joyful and excited about life. Like you become like the couch potato. You don't even have motivation to like move your body. You just want to like eat and be stuck and be stagnant. And it's like, yeah, because your vision is stuck and stagnant. Think about it. If you reflect on your life when you haven't had a vision of something you're moving toward, a purpose, something that you're excited about, how's your health? How's your life? How's your motivation? How's your relationship? Like, if you really reflect on it, you're probably like, oh, wait, like those seasons of my life actually weren't my favorite for most people. And if that's your favorite season of life when you never have a goal or a mission or purpose, um, I don't know. We're on two totally different wavelengths, I would assume. But like for me, a season of rest is nice. Yeah. And a season of in between. But I also know that when I have something I'm focused on, like I show up differently in this world. I show up differently for myself. I wake up different. I show up different. I show up for my business different. I show up for my team different. I show up for my kids different. I show up for my life different. And that's important. I think there's some line without a vision or like a purpose, you will perish. I don't know the line, but you guys probably can go look it up. Anyway, that is so freaking true. Like we need purpose and vision in our lives. It is our life force. We're meant to live here to create. And that takes you deciding something that pulls you and makes you excited to go create. If that creation is, I need to make 100K so I can buy a house, creation, amazing. It's making you take an action. Now you have the house. What do you want next? For me, I had to really sit with that and go, okay, like I have the things that I always thought I wanted and now I have it. Like, what's next? And not in a place of like constantly pursuing more, 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 more. Just like something for me to have in the back of my mind as a focal point for me to get excited about getting up and working or getting up and moving forward and creating the space to have other people grow in their lives and their businesses, right? And so for me, that next thing was like promoting to a certain level in my business and making a certain amount of money per month. And then that was my next focal point. So let's say you make your first 6 figures, you make 100 grand. What if you can change that and you're like, okay, crazy. I made my first 100. Like, what would it look like for me to make 175? Or what would it look like for me to make 200 or 250 or wherever you are? If you've already done that, like to do 300 or 750 or a million, like whatever your number is, right? But what I always say is kind of thinking of like 3 times the highest amount you've ever made is the next number that you should focus on. So let's say you've made 100 grand, your next number you want to focus on is 300K. And then it's like, okay, that feels touchable enough that you can kind of see it and be like, okay, like I can envision my life at that point. Like I can start to wrap my head around what that might look like. And that's where I think for myself, if we bring it back to vision and what's realistic and what we've been surrounded by, I had seen people buy homes. I had seen people that made 100K and I had seen people that took vacations, right? And I had seen people that owned their own businesses, not many, but I had seen it. So for me, that was in my awareness to be a possible reality for myself. Yes. So then I started expanding my vision in my life and my reality. And I meet people who make $1 million. I meet people who built massively successful businesses from home with their kids. I meet people who are traveling the world. I meet people who moved countries, moved continents. I end up meeting people who, I don't know, what's another example, like stayed fit and healthy after having kids. I'll just give you like next level of my life, right? So I see these things. And then because I've seen it in someone else, I go, oh my gosh, this is a possibility. This is something that could be a thing for me. So once you see it as a possibility and a reality for someone else, that's available for you also. You just need to decide, is this something I want or not? And if it isn't, that's okay. If it is, you feel any level of jealousy or envy, you want it. That's something that you want. Telltale sign that there's something that you want is when you feel that little bit of jealousy or envy most likely that person has something that you want. So rather than like, demonizing the person that is causing this feeling in you, sit with it and be like, what does she have or he have that I want? And when you really sit with it, it might be like, well, they're always traveling. And like the reality is you want to travel. So instead, identify from that jealousy and envy, what is your desire? When you identify your desire, that's where you're going to be able to be like, dang, that's actually something I want. Okay, how can I now move my life toward that thing? Because ultimately, this is a deep desire of mine. Make sense? Okay, so then beyond that, you're going to set a number of like where you want to be next, which maybe for you is 300K, 750, a million, whatever your income is. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I'm talking, these numbers I'm giving you right now are revenue, like actual earnings. You can do sales volume. Like I know, like in a lot of these programs I'm in now, they'll talk about, I don't even know. They use all these terms like KPIs and ROIs, which I know what those mean, but like revenue or net sales or like all these different figures, right? And I'm always like, I don't know. I know how much money I made and I know how many sales I did in a year. And so whatever the terminology of that is, I don't know. But maybe your number is like a sales target for a year or a monthly sales target, whatever your thing is. Just freaking get clear and make it feel touchable. So that's why I'm saying 3 steps ahead or 3 times the amount that you've already done, because it feels realistic enough that you can see a way forward. If you're the person who makes $1,000 a month, completely broke, and you're like, I'm going to fly private in 12 months and travel the world and buy a $12 million mansion, like amazing if you have a plan for that. The only thing I don't even know. The only thing I could think right now that might give you that is like, you can freaking, I don't know, become a Bonnie Blue on OnlyFans or something. I don't know. I literally don't know. But like in 12 months, the reality of that happening in someone's life with social media and AI and all the things, like maybe. But I'm still a little bit realistic because I've worked with enough people where like, if you're a regular, normal human, the ability for your mind to see that through in such a short time frame often isn't realistic because your nervous system, your body, like the energy and the intention and the shift internally and energetically can happen like this. But for your physical, bogged down, heavy body in this 3D world to start to shift and like transition into that version is typically going to take time. Right? So that's where I'm telling you this is more of like a realistic space. You can still have that vision. If that's something that you know is a calling on your life to like live a life of ultimate wealth, amazing. Put that in your vision board, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen this year. You need steps that are going to move you there. Okay. So now beyond that, okay, that's like after I buy the house, I set a vision for myself to make more money. Then from there, it was like, okay, what do I want next? And it was like, I think it'd be fun to have an investment property and like go live in the United States and do stuff like that. And so like those were my next visionary things because they were possible. I had friends that lived there. I had seen people move to the States. I had seen people move to California. So it felt realistic for me. Had I ever seen someone close to me do it? Did I know what I was doing? Absolutely not. But I was like, whatever, I'll be the first one to do it and figure it out along the way. Beyond that, then it was like, okay, wait a second. I saw a movie that inspired me and made me think how fun it would be to have a regenerative farm and like do my part in balancing nature and being able to feed myself from a sustainable source, right? Which is like feed myself from my own land based on the way the world is going and how we don't have a lot of nutrients in our food, the way it's being grown, like how fun to be able to like create my own, place of being able to feed myself. Yeah. Okay. And so like that was a vision. Then it was like, I don't want my kids to go to regular school. So my vision was like, what if I made one? Do you get what I'm saying? So you guys know myself, I'm different than everyone else. Your vision may not be any of those things. That doesn't matter. You get to decide what your vision is and lean into the thing that is most authentic and true to you. Now I've done all of those things, right? And I'm in a place where I'm like, okay, I'm actually really ready to take my business to the next level. And so my vision for this year is to close to double my numbers in terms of overall sales, which means likely double my earnings and my income. And then in addition to that, I am leaning more into a year of luxury. Okay. I don't know how else to say it. For like 2 years, I was feeling pretty hippy dippy. Maybe this has something to do with numerology. I don't know. But like I go through waves of being so hippy dippy to the point where I'm like, all I care about is coconut oil. And that's actually what led me to the company I'm with because I was like, I just want clean products. So I go from a wave of like super hippy dippy, earthy, don't care about materialistic items to a phase where I end up being like, wait, all I want in the season is that I'm being driven by materialistic items. I'm trying to actually think out loud here for how this may serve me in my life, because I think there needs to be seasons where we're happy with what we have and we're really grateful and appreciative. And it isn't constantly a pursuit of more, because that would lead to burnout. And we would have like not a lot of meaning around it. Like imagine every single moment of every single year I was only motivated by materialistic goods. I would just be accumulating all this stuff that would mean nothing to me. And so I think for myself, I think I go through waves of being really grounded, really down to earth, happy with really simple things like time with family, time in nature, feeling like I don't need anything. Like I could literally go live in a hut in another country, give up everything, connect with the earth, and I could be happy. Yeah. And then I go to the other spectrum where I'm like, but the world we're living in right now, we have so much materialistic stuff available to us and luxurious stuff available to us. Sometimes I actually want that too. And so not putting myself in some box of like, my gosh, like, you planted a farm. So how could you want diamond earrings or to go on a yacht and want a G-Wagon or like a big, beautiful house? No, I can want that and I can want the farm. I can want to have my own chickens I get eggs from and park in my garage in a G-Wagon. I can want to fly first class and eventually fly in a private jet with my family. And also like ride in a freaking, what are those called? Oh my God, the rickshaws, and be happy and be simple. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't put yourself in a box. Some people are attracted to luxury and wealth and money and what money can do for them in their lives. Other people don't care about that. And that's fine. This is where you need to decide what is the vision for you. Maybe all money that you ever earn, you would love to give away. And you have no desire to build the beautiful house or get the luxury car or take the luxury trip. That may be completely not in your vision, your wants, your desires. That is okay. Your job then is to identify what is it for you, but don't make it what you think will impress other people. It has to be true to you. And this is something that I see women do often is they're like, I just want to build an orphanage. And I'm like, but you can't pay your rent. You're struggling financially every single month and you don't have enough money to even get your basic needs met right now. And you are literally manifesting disease in your body right now from stress. So can we just admit that we need money for ourselves first before we want to go build an orphanage? Just a thought. If that's your truest desire, fine. Some people, that's just what their soul is meant to do. And that's fine. But for a lot of people, it's that martyrdom of feeling like that's what they should say, is that they, God forbid, you ever said you wanted money for yourself and your own well-being. And so some people feel really weird about that. I think that's something that's been ingrained from the church and a lot of people, that money is the root of all evil. And that's been taken way too far when it's like, in this life, we need money to survive. So your basic needs, like for you to really truly help others, you need all of your basic needs of survival met, which is going to take money. You need shelter, you need food, you need a clean place to live, you need clothes, clean water, all the things. Those things need to be met, plus your bills. And then once that's taken care of and you're no longer living in a state of stress, now you can think about making more and donating and giving and doing something amazing with your money and being philanthropic and all of that stuff. But oftentimes you're going to need to first have a desire and a vision to make enough to take care of your own needs before you can help others. It's kind of like when they say on the airplane, put your own oxygen mask on first before you can put it on another. That's the same thing with vision and business. Like you need to make enough money for yourself, your family, your basic needs before you can think about supporting and helping others. Important. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money to benefit your own self and your own life. Something that I will tell you for myself is, had I not created the vision that like I wanted to buy a house for me and my kids in California, right? Sounds selfish. It's only serving me. The money's going to only buy me a house, right? But in that vision, it served so many people in seeing what was possible and expanding their vision. In me pushing to grow my business, it actually allowed others to grow theirs. And so even though it's a self-centered want, materialistic thing that I wanted, in pursuing what I wanted, it allowed room for others to pursue what they wanted and allowed them to grow. Do you get what I'm saying? So sometimes you need something personal that's personally driven for you to go chase toward and move toward in order to create the space for others to also move up and see the vision and expand their vision also. Yeah? Okay. Okay. I already talked about this. That's where the self-discovery comes in and choosing to live an aligned, heart-led life while still pursuing your most authentic and pure desires. And so this is where I just kind of wanted to end with some specific questions, okay? So that you can actually reflect and find your vision for yourself. All right? Okay. So what I first want to ask you to sit with is, what is your vision? When you think about your life in 2026, when you think about your life in 2030, when you think about your life in 2035, what do you visualize and see as being true for you? Like, if you actually dropped all of your limitations, all of those things that hold you back, all of the reasons why you can't, and you really just thought like, dang, like if I tune into my heart right now, what do I actually desire for my life? What shows up for you? Like, are you sitting in a big, beautiful, high ceiling house on a cozy couch and the house is clean and cream with your kids and your family and a dog running around and you can see an orchard in the back? Like, do you see yourself and you're looking out your window and there's a beach? Do you see yourself looking out and you're on top of a mountain and you have a view? Like, you get to decide, where does your mind go? Because that is the truest version of what you see and the desire you see for your life is where your mind goes in that. So I just asked you, if you think of like the end of 2026, what do you see? When you start to think about 2030, that's technically like 4.5, whatever, years away. What do you see? When you think of 2035, like let's just say a decade into the future, what do you see? Start to allow yourself to actually go there. Okay. The next question I want to ask you is, what does your life look like when you make $25,000 a month? This is something that's a real tangible, is to start actually asking yourself. And I want you guys to take out a journal, pause this podcast and write these down. Or if you're driving, just pause it and actually give yourself a moment to think. But what does your life look like at $25,000 a month? If you already make that, make it 50. If you can't fathom that, make it 10. But pick a number and actually start breaking down like, all right, what would my life truly look like if that's the earnings that were coming in every single month? And then go a step further into, what does your life look like when you're doing $50,000 a month or $100,000 a month? Allow yourself to dream a little, because it's really important for anything to actually come into your awareness or come into reality, right, in the physical form. It has to first enter through your mind. So an example of this, like I had to first believe it was possible to like go on a yacht for me to end up on a yacht. I had to first believe like, wait, what if I could fly first class? The thought had to first enter my mind before I actually experienced it in the real world. Does this make sense? Right now, I have the visual of like, I want to fly private. I want that experience. I want to see what that feels like. So I know I'll do that one day. Do you get what I'm saying? So like whatever level you're at, you need to first see it in your mind's eye before you can see it in the physical reality. So sit with that. Like, what does that feel like? $50,000 a month. What are you doing with that money? If you made $100,000 in a month, every month, what would you do with that money? How much would your life change? Start visualizing your life at where you can see right now and start tapping into that feeling now. Because when you can do that, that is what creates it eventually becoming a reality for you. Same thing. So this is something I wrote down about abundance. Just the plaza changed me in terms of actually understanding what abundance meant. I am not even kidding. So this is where having new experiences too is so important, because it paints a new vision for your life. But it's like, I went from desiring to like build this farm and build this house and like live on the land, right? To being in the plaza and seeing people live in the residences and me being like, maybe I don't even want that. Maybe I'll give it all up and I can live in these residences and maybe I'd be fulfilled that way. I don't know, getting out and like walking Central Park every day. I don't know, but it was like, I liked this feeling. It was the first time I enjoyed being in a city. And so it was like, had I not had that experience, how would I even know that that's a possibility for me to be like, wait, this life that you're creating, is it truly, truly, truly what you actually desire at your deepest core level? And this is what's been really fun for me, is navigating like, who am I really? What does Carly actually care about? Because if the whole entire world full up of opportunities and full of possibilities I can choose anything to go create. It's like, what is the truest form for me of the thing that I genuinely and actually want? And that's something that I get to tune into and lean into and decide and figure out for myself. And I think something that we all need to get okay with is that based on circumstances, life experience, it might change. And that's okay. Don't overcommit to one belief you had 3 years ago that you need to think and believe that for the rest of your life. It's not true. There's beliefs that I had 5 years ago that I don't even believe anymore at all. None. I don't even relate to that version of me who believed that. So allow yourself to evolve and change. And if you want a limitless, expansive vision for your life and you believe that, then it's going to change. And who you are is going to change. And you need to be okay with that. And letting past versions of you go to step into new versions of who you're supposed to be. So, yeah, when it comes to money, I do think it's really important, just as a note, like if you do have monetary goals for this year, you need a job for that money. So if you're saying like, I want to earn more money, is it one penny, $10, $100, $1,000, $10,000? Like you need to be specific. And then in addition to being specific, you need to actually decide, what are you working toward? What do you want more for? And what are you going to do with more? And what is that more specifically? And where is that money going? Super important. So for me right now, I know the more money that I'm working toward, it's to finish my house project. I really am feeling a G-Wagon. I am for this year. October-ish is what I'm thinking, when I can actually like return my leased car, whatever, and more luxury travel experiences. I loved how it felt. I loved the way it expanded my vision for my life. And I want more of those experiences. And then I also just wanted to talk about prosperity really quick, because I know I've talked about abundance in so many episodes, but this year, for some reason, I'm really feeling the word prosperity. And so I just wanted to give you guys the definition of this. It means successful in material terms, flourishing financially, and bringing wealth and success. And I don't know, I just think beyond abundance, I feel like I understand like there's an abundance and life is fruitful, and look at how many leaves come from a tree, and the opportunities and the relationships and the love, and that all of this is endless, right? I know that, I believe that. And this year, I feel like beyond abundance is prosperity for me, to focus on wealth and success. And I don't know if you feel that, but like there's always so much talk about abundance. And I'm like, I think this year feels more like a focus on prosperity for me. So I hope this was helpful in terms of kind of leaning into, what is your vision? What are you leaning into? If everything is an opportunity for you, what do you actually want? What can you see for yourself in your life at this point? And how can you lean into that moving forward? Because the world is your oyster. Like you can literally have whatever you want. And that should make you excited. But I think for some people, it can feel scary, because they put so many self-imposed limitations on themselves, their lives, and what they believe is possible, that they don't even know how to imagine their life outside the cage they've put themselves in. So even like your marriage, your relationship, if it sucks, allowing yourself to think like, what if you weren't with them? What if you no longer carried that baggage? I'm not pro separation, by the way. If you can work it out, because relationships are going to be, work regardless who you're doing it with. And being single is interesting, and an interesting journey in this day and age. But like, I just believe like if your relationship truly sucks, like they suck, and nothing is ever going to change, your one life, why would you stay there? Change it. Break up. Create a new reality. Pick a different life path. And something that actually, you know what I was thinking about? I read this thing, and it was about basically how, as women, when we pick a partner who is, let's say, lower vibration than us, or behind in terms of like success, and let's say they're living on a lower timeline than us, not lower as in they're less than, lower as in frequency. So they haven't quite ascended to like where you are existing in this plane right now. And you pick a partner who's not on that wavelength. I don't know. Let's just give an example. So like the guy who doesn't own a home, lives in a really old, crappy apartment, doesn't really have a career, doesn't own a car, can't keep a job, is just kind of a mess, right? Doing drugs, whatever. Let's just paint the picture of like, that's the kind of guy. And then let's say me right now. So like me, I have a great business. I own a home. I have kids. I'm a professional. I have all these things going for myself. And then I go, oh, I love him, which I've done, by the way. So now, okay, so I'm here. I'm ascending like crazy. My life is going quick. Like I am growing. I'm seeing massive growth. I'm seeing massive abundance. I'm seeing everything happen for me. It's happening quick. My energy is on fire. I'm magnetic, all the things. Yeah. So I'm up here just like loving my life. Things are going great. And now I'm like, oh, but I love him. And so I'm going to come, attached with this person who's here. And now, do you know what happens? Because we're like magnets as people. There is no option. Either he has to rise here or I have to go here, because you have to be of equilibrium and balance in a partnership. Okay. So if you can feel it burning in you that you are meant for a life of greatness, but you have this person, the closest person to you that you were in a relationship with, that is freaking pulling you down to their frequency, and there is no end in sight that they're going to get out of that or move themselves forward. Oh, how is that going to work? No, you're meant to create and be amazing and do great things. Tune back into your own energy. And like it literally can put you on a different trajectory of your entire life path and put you on a lower timeline. And it will derail you and slow you down from where you're meant to go. I don't know. I'm just in the year of like dropping all dead weight and finally understanding that like that can't work. Like Carly needs to stop doing that and instead stay where she is up here, stay steady, and understand that someone's going to meet her here. She doesn't need to keep lowering herself. You get what I'm saying? Okay. So for any of you who continue to lower yourself down too, stop doing that. We're not doing that anymore in 2026. You're going to stay steady at where you are, keep growing, keep moving towards what you see, your vision, your life, and allow the person to meet you. And if you're in a committed long-term partnership and you've been doing this, wait for that person to catch up. Like, just know that if you're already doing this, it doesn't mean that they can't come with you, right? You'll either feel the friction or you guys will find an equilibrium. You just have to trust and like allow it to take its course and allow it to spend the time that it needs to even out. Anyways, thanks so much for being here. I'm so excited for 2026. I'm excited for I want you guys, if you guys create a vision and have it for your life, please message me on Instagram. I would love to see it. And if this episode was helpful and you feel like it could help somebody else, please share it. If you haven't already subscribed on YouTube, that's really helpful. And then liked and subscribed on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. And we will see you in the next episode. I'm so excited for 2026 and all of us to achieve and accomplish like amazing things and have the most prosperous year that's happened in a long time. So excited. I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.